found this very nice U25b. Actually, it's not so nice. It's a custom paint that someone else did. But this engine is actually all the leftover parts that I had from other engines. So some of these, this drive, this is the old drive that doesn't have any contact strips on the side. Some of these drives you can have a conversion kit for microtrans couplers. So that's why the coupler pocket is cut. So because of that, I bought some new parts with the coupler pockets. So I'll be putting these on here pretty soon. But first I'm going to show you how to remove the shell. So just like the RS3, these you can remove the top of the shell separately from the bottom of the shell. That's how they come out. And there's several snaps that you have to fight with. First of all, you have to remove the handrails to the cab. And then you have to get under here somehow. Lift this very gently. Just be careful not to wreck the paint. And then that's almost in good shape here. It's going very, very well. So once you have the top off, then you can wiggle the handrails to get them out. So these, you just have to wiggle them out. Go very slowly, it's not a race. They're pretty tight on there, so you do have to work patiently. And there's a bar you can pry out from under here. So it's not impossible to do, it just takes time. So you have to go tiny little bit at a time, tiny little increments, but once you get there, you'll feel good. It's coming along very well. Just wiggle it. Wiggle your big toe. Here we go. So then, that's just like any other engine. Remove the shade. Remove the light circuit board. There should be one in the back. This one doesn't have. Like I said, it's made from parts of other engines. And then the screws. You can just take them out a little bit. That will allow you to open up the frame just a little bit to get them out. You don't have to remember the order because of course there will be coupler pockets at the end. And then once you got that out, you can finish removing the screws. And then we're in here. And it's very simple machine to work on. So this one's been lubricated before. I just put a drop here and here. The other thing too that you have to keep in mind when you're working on these is they have a support for the motor. It's very important that these are in their correct place. That's part of the reason why the locomotive runs so quiet. Also, they don't have contact strips, and there's a U25b that's like that. There's an RS1 that's like that, although the RS1 has flywheels. It uses some strange type of spider connector. I'm not sure I like those too much, but the U25b is just a hex connector, very easy to work with. And they have this little door here. I'm not sure there's any purpose to it. I just find that kind of neat. There's a little door that comes out, you can see the motor. I think they have that on there for noise reduction. It's just held on there by the magnets. So once you're happy with what's in here, you can put everything back together. Make sure you have your insulators. It won't run without it. Like any engine, the most important part where the power is made or where the power is lost is in the trucks. I'm just gonna tighten my screws. I'm gonna put just a couple of turns, that's all I need, just to keep everything in its place. This one has no gas tank and the truck couplets are broken, so I've got an extra gas tank, although the gas tanks for the what they call the China version or the newest version, so we can work on the trucks now. This one's in pretty good shape. I could use it just like that. It has its coupler, but since I bought two new ones, I may as well use the two new ones. And this one's broken, so we'll work on that one first. They have two metal frames in the truck. The metal frames contact the power from the wheels and bring it to the frame. This is a little bit old, this engine, but they still run great. It's a really nice engine to get. So just like the RS1, just hold the tab with your nail and push the other one out, and then it'll just come out. And just like the RS11 or the RS3, they have this contact strip, which is tricky to work with. Since I have it in my hand, it's pretty clean already, but since I have it in my hand, I'm going to clean the wheels again before putting it back together. Sometimes I'll put a little bit of lubrication on these. I've already cleaned it and lubricated it before, so there's no need to go nuts on that. Too much lubrication is actually worse. And then I put my little contact strip. Same color as my table. It's pretty tough to work with. Now these contact strips, they have two tiny little pins to come in and sit on. They sit on these little pins here. So I will put this back together. Now the wheels actually will hold the contact strip down. Just have to make sure that they're at the correct place. And let's do the other side. That looks pretty good. And then I'll bring my side frames up here. The side frames need the hole for the gears, so this one would go like this. So I will put this side in first, and I'll bring the rest of them in. Let's see if they line up. You can run it with your fingers, that way you can be sure if you're happy with the results. And I don't know if you can see, but the contact strip landed up right on its pins, so that's perfect. Excellent. Now that my trucks are ready, I can just put them back in here. Use gravity as your friend. Hold the trucks in place, and then I'm going to tighten up the two screws. That wasn't so bad now, was it? Let's just test it on my workbench, just to see what it's like. So just take my test leads. Sounds good. Beauty. So I can put my light back on. And the light shade. Yeah, this little guy's been run through the mill. And then I can put the top of the shell back on. U25b, they have battery boxes. I don't know what these boxes are really, but I suspect battery boxes in the back too. The ones in the front are just a little bit bigger. So same as getting it out, you have to wiggle it. It fits pretty tight over this. So So that takes a little bit of patience to get it done, but it's not impossible. Although you want to be careful not to, you do not want to break your handrails. It's a beautiful model. I really like these. Now there's a newer kind that has the contact strips, and that, if you go on eBay, is worth a little bit more money, obviously, because it works better. But these old ones, they actually work really good. So they're worth, definitely worth keeping around, despite being old. Now I'm missing the gas tank. I have an extra gas tank here for the newer model, so it will fit under here. It just doesn't have the same clips, so I'm gonna have to, I guess, glue it. But first I'm gonna paint it black. So while I was waiting for my paint to dry, the sun came out. I also replaced the horn there. So now we're ready to go. And now it's time to run some trains. I hope you enjoyed the video. I certainly had fun making it for you. See you soon.